Testing. Wow. First time. Okay, namaste. Tashile. So, refresh the motivation. And then, what do you think? You want to go through the picture first, or should I get through the text? All right, why don't I do this? I'll just get us up to speed on the picture. And then later, if you ever have to give a gift to a king, you can do it. So anyway, I think in the liberation, do you have just this? Maybe you could share that. Oh, A1. That's fine. So anyway, let me. No, it's okay. It's okay. Oh yeah, that could. I need a pointer. All right, so this is the wheel of life. Can they see? Oh, this big glare. All right, that's all right. They won't be able to see it, but Rami is gonna screen share. All right. Okay. So there's a few things going on. Let's zoom into that. Okay. All right. So there's a few things going on, right? And so you'll see there's this wheel, and then there's the outer kind of edge, pizza crust, and then there's the inner kind of wedge, and then, kind of going from two things, right? So this outer edge, that's representing the 12 links of interdependent origination. So actually, Rami, maybe in the liberation palm of your hand, they just had what those 12 links were. And then we can come back to this. So this one here, or ignorance, is represented by a blind person. So this is quite nice. It's like, where am I going? Doesn't see where he's going, where he'll be reborn, what he has suffered in the past, or what he will suffer in the future. So yeah, ignorance. Then next, combinational factors or karma is represented by a man making pots. You see that? A potter. So just as the clay, it can be formed into different pots of shapes and sizes. So then the karma can also bring different results. Consciousness represented by a monkey swinging on a tree, right? So the swinging kind of on the tree, showing that consciousness joins past life to present life and future life and all this, just like a monkey jumps from branch to branch. So we too are going from life to life. So name and form is represented by a person rowing a boat. Remember, name and form. We have the form is the form aggregate, the body, and then the name basically is the other aspects of the mind, the karmic imprints on the mind. So here, the boat is akin to the body, the form aggregate, and then the name, the other four, kind of the body. That's like the actor, right? Steering the boat where it needs to go and all this. Okay. So next, the sixth sense spheres is empty house. Yeah, you see? Empty house. So remember, this was referring to when the embryo is just forming, but the sense powers are a little bit formed, but they not able to distinguish between their respective objects. So it's like the empty house, not quite. It's there, but we have to move in, kind of thing. Right? Contact. So there, ooh, oh, man and woman having contact. So then the contact, we were saying, when the sense consciousness comes into contact with the object, then there's the differentiation between pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. Yeah. So this basically, the man and woman coming into contact is representing the meeting of the sense consciousnesses with an object. So next, feeling. There's a man with an arrow in his eye. So then getting contact with the object then is producing the feeling. Next, craving. So the man there, he's drinking wine. Or a woman. Okay. Yeah. Drinking wine. Just as, this craving, right? It's like drinking salt water. Our craving is never satisfied. So next, grasping. So there is a monkey. There's a man. Here is a monkey. Monkey picking fruit from a tree. So normally, humans can do this too. Even though you pick one fruit, you eat it, you're not satisfied. So you want more and more. And then you just keep eating all the fruit. Then next, existence is represented by a pregnant woman. So here, remember, existence is referring to the activated karma, means the karma is ready to propel the next rebirth. Then birth, the woman giving birth, aging and death, symbolized by an old man walking with a cane and a corpse. Yeah. So here, there's a man carrying the corpse on his back. Yeah. And what is that? A vulture? So like that. Okay, we can go back to the picture. So that's the outer wheel. Inner, these are the 6 realms of cyclic existence we mentioned. So here we have the hell realm, complete with people being boiled alive in cauldrons, just like Dante's Inferno. Then we have this is the hungry ghosts here. Let me see. Mm. Hungry ghosts, they're characterized with having very large stomachs, such that even when they eat, they're never full. Some of them you see in this depiction, do you see some of them have flames coming out of their mouth because, yeah, they have obscurations to eating food. And then we have the animal realm here. So here we have the human realm. And then we have the what they call the gods and demigods fighting each other. So here, I don't know if you can see, but this is like a wish fulfilling tree. So the root of the tree is in the demigod realm, but it goes up into the god realm, and so the gods they experience the fruits, and they're always fighting. The gods actually come into the demigod realm, and like if there are any, I'm sorry to say, but it's in the ancient text. If there's any kind of beautiful demigods, the gods will come down and take them. Now it is also said that to kill the gods, you need to decapitate them. They're very hard to kill. Whereas the demigods, if you stab them, it could bleed out or something. Nonetheless, the demigods, since they're a bit weaker, they mostly lose the battle, but they battle anyway. So then here in this inner, you'll see half of it is black, half of it is white. So the black is like animal, hungry ghost, and hell being. It's going downward, the lower realms of existence, and then you have the human demigod and god, the white side. Sorry, you have a question? Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh, huh. So Venerable Namjong, you hear the question, Rami? Yeah. Mm. My way of stalling. All right. So the question is whether these six realms are actual places or are they state of minds? State of mind. Yeah. So one great Tibetan master, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, when he came to the U.S. Uh, to start teaching foreigners, he, famously said, these are just state of mind, not some place. Now, in the traditional text, they talk about the hell realms being a certain number of yojanas. It's like an ancient way of, leagues or fathoms, something like this, right? Ancient unit of measure. They talk about it being so many yojanas below Bodh Gaya in India. In other texts, they say for the hungry ghosts that they were walking around India, but we can't see them due to our karmic obscurations. But those with clairvoyance can see these kind of spirits, and maybe you meet people who talk about seeing spirits and this kind of thing. Anyway, on one level, it doesn't really matter because whether it's an actual place or it's just a mental state, because you can imagine right? Especially the hell realm. It could be, they say, a miraculous rebirth. So you could imagine just you having a dream like this, a mental experience um, that lasts a very long time, and you're experiencing it. So for you, the experiencer, it doesn't matter if it's a physical place or not. The point is, we don't want that experience. And the Buddha is teaching that that experience arises through our negative actions. And those are in turn motivated by negative states of mind. So don't follow those negative states of mind. Try not to do negative actions. What do you think? Mm, sure. Yeah. So again, when Chupa Rinpoche mentioned, he said, yeah, even humans can experience the hell realms that's motivated sort of by or kind of characterized by very strong anger, right? One of the hell realms is called the reviving hell. And basically, you see someone, and due to your anger, like I pick this up, and then it turns into a club. And then I get angry, I hack you. And then we all, like, everyone fights, and then everyone swoons. And then there's a voice from the sky says, wake up. And then you start all over again, right? So that kind of violent state we see, like in unfortunately many parts of the world where there's a lot of violence. It's kind of like that, right? Then hunger goes characterized by the big stomach. As much as they get, they never get enough. So people with a lot of greed, dissatisfaction, no matter how much they get, they're keeping wanting to get more. And animals characterized by ignorance, just not knowing, not caring, not being able to understand. So yeah, that's there. Um, Now, I would say for that, their experience might be like a hell, but nonetheless, if they're in a human body, they're human, right? That's right. Well, well, this is the thing. So just in the debate courtyard, right? Were they born from a womb? That means, well, that's the other thing, right? No, don't get into this. Oh, it could be Maitreya appearing in this form, and in your Chicago cab. Did he give a nice tip? No, no, I know I'm the street. I'm joking. Yeah, all that there. What I'm saying is, remember, we were saying of the four types of rebirth, the hell beings, they take a spontaneous rebirth, right? The full-fledged one. So I'm going to go by that. I can say, yeah, your mental experience, it can feel, we say that's like hell, right? That's like hell. But what I've also heard in the teachings is that really, no matter how bad your experience as a human is, if they went down to the actual hells, right? Like a travel agent, and they like trying to sell a cruise, they're like, you can now inhabit this person screaming on the side of the road in Chicago. The people in the real hell would jump at that. Jump. Hmm? What do you think? See, some of this really, and I'm a professional debater, right? This is what I do. But the more I do it, like sometimes I always ask the question, what is it going to matter to you in your practice if I say these are real places or it's just a state of mind? One of them, are you going to refrain from negative karma a little bit better? Are you going to generate compassion for other sentient beings a little bit better? Yeah. Okay. So what do you think would be most beneficial for you on the path? Okay. Then it's not specific places. It's just state of mind for you, right? Hmm. Yeah. This is what we said on day one. If, I'm not a Buddha, right? I'm not a Buddha, but we were saying the Buddha, then 30 people ask the same question, the Buddha will give 30 different answers depending on what's most beneficial for the mind, right? So since I don't have the power of omniscience and can see what's most beneficial for you, I'm taking your word for it. But I give you what's going to be beneficial for you, right? For me, huh? I was also raised Catholic, so there's some baggage from that, thinking there's an actual place and all that. So I have to kind of check. But for me, I'm not sure it makes much difference because for me, it's always like, what do I do? There's this philosophical view, but what do I do? Right? What do you want me to do? Okay, you want me to refrain from negative actions? Okay, I'll do that. You know, it's kind of like anyway. My friend Ryan, this book on sleep by Matthew Walker, right? A lot of these books like this, right? The first however many pages telling all the research, all the reasons why, blah, blah, blah. But at a certain point, it's like, okay, I I believe you. I want to sleep better. Tell me just what to do. Okay. So on one level, right, for the Buddha, okay, real place, state of mind, just what do I do? I don't want to experience that. Either way, if it's a real place, just state of mind. I don't want that. Right? So sometimes that's actually, I'm be very honest, it's been a little bit frustrating sometimes when I go to the debates and it's like, we're debating this minute detail. Is it like this? Is it like that? And I'm like, either way, am I, am I going to do anything differently if it's interpretation A or interpretation B? If not, why are we talking about this for 2 hours? Right? Oh, to sharpen your intelligence. Maybe, but we can talk about something else and sharpen our intelligence and another way that's going to be more practical. I'm sorry. I can say that I've gone through 16 years of debate. Okay. All right. Now in the middle, these are three root poisons. We have the pig. Here's a pigeon. Sometimes you see a rooster and then a snake, right? So the pig, ignorance, the rooster, attachment, and the snake, aversion. So those are the three root poisons. Okay? Like that. Then on the bottom, you with me? Yeah, you'll see a little quotation there. In Tibetan, Sampa Shashing Chungwar Ja Sangi Tenla Jukbar Ja damche kimdu, langche shin, chida nguni, shomparja. So make an effort to destroy it, enter the Buddha Dharma, eliminate the Lord of Death. Oh, by the way, this is the Lord of Death, Yama. Okay. Holding it in the teeth means he's the one in control, right? Now, actually, in other contexts, you'll see the Lord of Death just being the fact that we don't choose when we die or if we die. That's out of our control. So they say it's in the control of the Lord of Death. So kind of like the Grim Reaper, right? So eliminate the Lord of Death, just like an elephant destroys a grass hut. Kanshi ratu go yebes, no, bak yebes, chudu dila chud gyurna, kiwe korwa ma pangshin, dungel wa mar chapargyur. Whoever takes up the practice of ethics with great conscientiousness abandons the cycle of rebirth and thus brings an end to suffering. Sounds good, huh? So let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. You know everything about this. It's okay. So we can go back to the other text. Okay, so once you have properly, once you have properly recognized these 12 links and can distinguish between them, you must know how to group them properly into limbs. Therefore, these limbs, the precipitating limb, the establishing limb, the resultant precipitating limb, and the resultant manifested limb. Okay. All right. So ignorance is like the sower of the seed. Okay, so we know precipitating, right? Like causing. So sometimes you'll see this as, actualizing and actualized. Okay. Ignorance is like the sower of the seed, the karmic action, the compositional factor motivated by ignorance is like the seed, and like the earth into which the seed is planted, the consciousness at the time of the cause has the instinct of this accumulated karma put into it. Yeah, you get it? So the precipitating or throwing limb is the first 2.5 links. Ignorance, compositional factors, and the consciousness at the time of the cause. Okay? Right? Then, just as the seed is nurtured by water, manure, heat, moisture, and so craving and grasping activate karma into being able to produce a result. Like a seed is being made potent enough by water, manure, heat, and moisture, develop into a sprout. Karma that has been activated by craving and grasping is made certain to precipitate the aggregates of one's next incarnation by the link of becoming. Thus, craving, grasping, and becoming are the establishing limb. Okay. You with me? Yes? Okay. Yeah. It's good with someone on. Great conscientiousness mean with the practice of that? Oh, so that just means, right? We're conscientious in the sense that we know what we're doing We're always mindful. And then when we're about to do something, like the mosquito comes and we're like, oh, we refrain. So we're aware of our actions of body and mind so we can refrain very precisely from negative actions. Yeah. So that bakye, yeah, it's basically being aware, not conscientious in the sense of, doing your homework on time and all that. Yeah. Right. Just as a sprout has grown from the seed, so the link of rebirth, that is, being conceived into one's incarnation, is one component of the resultant manifested limb. 5.5 links make up the resultant precipitated limb, consciousness at the time of result, which I've already described, name and form where applicable. So where is it not applicable? In the formless realm, there's just name. And then senses, contact, and feeling. Aging and death, where they apply. So where do they not apply? We'll get to that in a second. Are another component of the resultant manifested limb. So the resultant manifested limb is made up of the link of rebirth plus that of aging and death. So my opinion for this, where they apply, if one attains liberation in this life, in this body that you all have, you are free of samsara. So your death, you will have gotten rid of the Lord of Death. Okay. I think that's what it means. So let us take the example of rebirth as a god. Through the power of our ignorance that is being blinded to suchness, the instinct of some karma we accumulated, karma that will throw us into rebirth as a god, is placed in our consciousness. Then we feel how wonderful, how I would welcome rebirth as a god and aspire to this in our prayers and so on. This is craving. Then we put more effort into increasing this aspiration. This is grasping. At death, these last two make up the karma certain to throw us into this rebirth. This is becoming. So the 3 components of the precipitating limb and 3 of the establishing limb, 6 in all, are completed in this life. Okay? Then we are reborn as a god. The other 6 links at the time of the result are completed in this next rebirth as the god. 4 of them, name and form, senses, contact, and feeling, are the resultant precipitating limb. And 2, birth plus aging and death, are the resultant manifested limb. This is how one set of 12 links is completed in 2 lifetimes. So they can't be completed in 1 lifetime. Minimum is 2. But see, in this example, we accumulated the karma to be reborn as a god. And then at our time of death, the craving and grasping and so forth activated that karmic seed. But it doesn't have to be that way. We could create the karma to be reborn as a god in this life, but then at our time of death, we could activate a karma through craving and grasping of, let's say, being reborn as a human again. Then many, many, many lifetimes could transpire. Then eventually that karma to be reborn as a god that we accumulate in this life would be activated. And then that very next life, the other 6. So when that happens, they say that those 12 links are completed in 3 lifetimes. But those intervening lifetimes, see, other of the 12 links are being experienced. And so those don't count for this set of 12 links. You know what I mean? Yes? Now, when we really think about this, right? This is the all pervasive compounded suffering. where we're constantly, through this 12 links, we're constantly creating karmic causes. We're experiencing more, it's just kind of endless. So take the example of rebirth in lower realms. The same principles apply because of our blindness to the law of cause and effect. We accumulate non-virtuous karma, which is activated by craving and grasping, etc. Right. It is impossible for one set of links to be completed within one lifetime under the power of one karmic action. Right? We all understand why? Because to activate the karmic action is going to require another rebirth. So the craving and grasping, becoming, that happens at the end of a life. It takes longer when we have been unable to activate some karma through craving and grasping. Then the 3 components of the precipitating limb will be completed in one life, the 3 of the establishing limb in another life, and the 4 of the resultant precipitating limb as well as the 2 of the resultant manifested limb will be completed in yet another life, taking 3 lifetimes in all. Yeah, that's what I just explained. So yeah. Let's move down a little bit. So to summarize, well, we can do an illustration. In this lifetime, we accumulate evil karma to be reborn in lower realms. This instinct is implanted. However, at death, the guru and others induce virtuous thoughts in us. This activates the karma for human rebirth, and we are reborn. Next reborn as a human being. So this is actually a little bit important. If you are with someone who is kind of going through the death process, it's very good to induce virtuous thoughts in them. So that could be to remind them of the kind of good activities they've done, maybe remind them of their object of faith. And it doesn't have to be that they have to be Buddhist for that, or just, generate kind of loving thoughts. It's also important to kind of tell them that, yeah, I'll be okay. Your family will be okay. Right? So they don't have that clinging, grasping that they feel they need to stay around. Right? In our example, there could be many intervening rebirths between the precipitating and establishing limbs, but there are lives that belong to other sets of links and so do not count. So to summarize, the fastest we can complete a set of links is 2 lives and the slowest in 3. It is not possible to do it any faster or more slowly. Each link gives rise to the link that follows it. So all suffering, rebirth, aging, and death, so on, is experienced as a cycle. When we follow the links that resulted from a single karmic action, we may develop other sets of links in their cause phase. Aging and death derive from rebirth. The compositional factors derive from ignorance, and so on. So one link follows after another, and ignorance is therefore fundamental in causing the wheel of samsara to turn. So Nagarjuna says 2 of them derive from the 3, 7 of them derive from the 2. From the 7, the 3 occur again. That is the wheel of life, and so it turns and turns. So, in other words, the 3 delusion links give rise to 2 karma links. So 3 delusion links: ignorance, craving, and grasping. Okay. 2 karma links: compositional factors. Remember, ignorance, then compositional factors. And then craving and grasping activate to becoming. Becoming is the activated karma. Okay. Then from these come the 7 links of suffering. Those are the rest. From these 7 come the 3 delusion links, and so on. The cycle is repeated, and the wheel of life turns without interruption. This is the revolving of the wheel of suffering. So these 12 links can be dealt with in another order if we practice a path that is able to put a stop to them. We impede compositional factor link by preventing ignorance. This will put an end to all suffering intervening before aging and death. Yeah. So what that means, right? If we practice a path that is able to put a stop to them, what does that mean? That means realizing emptiness, realizing the ultimate nature of reality, which will put an end to ignorance. No ignorance means then no compositional factors, no karma. And then that's how the thing is um, stopped. Bye. To summarize, the 12 interdependent links can be brought under 3 types of links: the karma links, the delusion links, and links of suffering. Okay. Karma links, 2. Delusion links, 3. Links of suffering, 7. So ignorance, craving, and grasping are 3 delusion. 2 karma links or compositional factors of becoming. The remaining links are links of suffering. So as Nagarjuna says, the first, 8th, and 9th are delusion, 2nd and 10th are karma, the remaining 7 are suffering. First line of the verse discusses the 3 links of motivation, the second, the 2 links of karmic actions of body and speech, that is, compositional factors, and becoming. The third line, the links that one will experience. You have developed renunciation when, as a result of your meditation on the general suffering of samsara and the 12 interdependent links, you yearn to be liberated from samsara as a prisoner yearns to be free from prison. When you develop the mind with such yearning for liberation, you will then want to train in the path leading to freedom. There we go. So, yeah, it's a little bit confusing, but only a little bit. Okay. This with the, when they bring in these different ways to slice and dice and categorize and you just have to understand. But you think about it a little bit and then I think it's clear, right? If it's not, you can also say no, and I'll explain again. What do you think? Our Zoom friends? Good?
Venerable, sorry. Can you hear me?
So this whole like seed sprout analogy, I think is kind of is helpful. Ignorance motivates an action. The action plants a seed in the consciousness. Those are first 3. Okay. The seed then, at the time of death, gets activated by craving and grasping, then becomes the link of becoming. Becoming refers to the activated karmic seed, strong enough to then propel the next rebirth. Then come the link of rebirth, which we said was simultaneous with name and form. The other ones, 6 sense sources, contact, that's referring to the development of someone, the fetus, and if it's a womb birth. But then after we have the fully fledged contact, that happens, I think, first in the womb, but then happens as long as we have fully functioning sense consciousness, right? Then when we come into contact with objects, it produces feeling, pleasant, unpleasant. We then have craving for those feelings of pleasant or aversion for the unpleasant, so on. So therefore, in the rest of our life, those in trying to attain more pleasant feelings, will engage in all sorts of activities. Hi. Yes. Our So they're not necessarily attachment because we were talking. You can have that craving for annihilation, which is a type of aversion, right? But we should mention when we're talking about these 12 links, those are delusions. Those are objects to be abandoned, right? So it doesn't have to be attachment, but it has to be a delusion. It can be an aversion as well. Yeah. So I wouldn't say every action, right? Because there's certain actions that are maybe not kind of karmically weighty. Like, for example, just picking up and putting down my cup. That's not virtuous, non virtuous. I mean, I didn't smash a bug or something. So when we talk about compositional factors, it's like a strong enough karmically that's then going to be powerful, yeah, to propel another rebirth. And all actions aren't that way. If you know from the the teachings on karma, right? There are the four factors that need to be complete, right? The basis. Okay, let's go through this a little bit, right? We have the basis. So let's say an action of killing. The basis, the person who's going to kill, as well as the victim. Then we have the thought. This has three. There's the recognition. So you need to recognize the object as being a living being. You have to have the motivation to kill. And you have to have an affliction. So either anger, like you don't like being bit by a mosquito, you're going to kill it. Attachment, you can kill for attachment to the way that the meat tastes. And ignorance, yeah, thinking an animal sacrifice would be virtuous and therefore killing that one. Okay, so that's a thought. Yeah, recognition, motivation to kill, and a affliction. Then we have the action, and then the completion of the action when the object dies. Okay. So if all those are complete, it can be a full kind of path of karmic action, as they say. But, you know, if you're walking to the Gompa, you didn't see there was a ant on the ground and you step on it, it's incomplete. Right? So that won't necessarily propel experience. Okay. Oh, you have a question? First, he itches his nose, and then Yeah. So you got the question? So Rami doing such great work as the SPC of Land and Medicine Buddha with the mind of bodhicitta. Now, what was it? We're going to assume. We don't know. We're going to assume she's not an Arya Bodhisattva. Okay. So then the question is, these actions are positive. Now, when we say the actions motivated by bodhicitta, they're going to become the cause for one's enlightenment. So it is only then causes for the enlightenment, or you get some benefit before then, right? That's the question. Ah. Hmm. Yeah. So as Shantideva says in Bodhisattva Charyavatara, first chapter on the benefits of bodhicitta, that all other virtues are like the plantain tree or banana tree. They bear fruit once and then they perish. But with the supreme elixir of bodhicitta is like a wish fulfilling tree that never runs out of fruit. Sorry for the bad translation. So the point is, this wish fulfilling tree, actually, that's the one. The roots in the demigod realm. Okay. So let's distinguish. If we have a virtuous action with a small scope motivation, we want to be wealthy in our future life, right? Therefore, practice generosity. We will in our future life have some material resources, but then when we get it, in our next life, we'll get 2 cough drops. Then the karma is finished, right? It bears fruit once, then bas, finished. If we do it with a mind of bodhicitta, it's not just then, oh, after we're enlightened, we'll get cough drops. But we will experience virtuous ripening effects in future lives. Those won't run out until we're enlightened. And actually, even after we're enlightened, it doesn't run out either, right? At that point, we have perfect enjoyments and perfect retinue and all that. Okay? Rami? If there's no questions, we can go back to the PowerPoint. Huh? This is very interesting. So Namgyal said, if there are no questions, I have a question, a serious question. Oh, a series of questions. A series of questions. Okay. But is it a serious question? Yeah. Of course it's going to be that's why all your questions are serious. So then I'm like, why would you qualify that? Um, you know, really, I've just one more slide. So let me do that. And then we're gonna open it up to a series of serious questions. Just the last slide, right? So remember what Pabonka Rinpoche was saying at the end. Once you've meditated on the faults of samsara, either through the Four Noble Truths or through the 12 links, then you won't see samsara as anything desirable anymore, and you'll want to put effort in the path leading to liberation. So, what is that? Here, the sort of rebirth that will stop samsara. So, Geshe says, when you wandered so much in the past, samsara did not stop by itself, nor will it stop by itself. You must stop it. And now is the time to stop. And the time to stop it is now that you have gained an optimum human rebirth. So Jyoti was saying this yesterday, right? Like the reincarnation leading to nirvana. So not necessarily, right? It didn't stop in the past by itself. And if we don't act differently, it won't stop in the future by itself, right? So how do we stop it then? Nagarjuna's letter to a friend. If your hair or clothes should suddenly catch fire, give up putting them out. Strive instead to stop reincarnation. No other aim can be as great. Wow. Amazing, right? Think about that. Normally, if our hair or clothes catch on fire, it'd be instinctive, you know, right? Not even thinking. So Nagarjuna is saying, don't even do that. The thing that we would be like most instinctively prone, probably the quickest reaction we could get is knowing we're on fire, how quick we move. Isn't it? Do we do anything else so quick? Wow. Okay. So instead of that, instead of that, our hair is on fire. Oh no, no, no. I'm going to instead go on the path to liberation. I'm going to instead meditate on emptiness. Through pure ethics, wisdom, and concentration, achieve peaceful, subdued, stainless nirvana, a state immortal, ageless, inexhaustible, beyond earth, water, sun, and moon. So this is referring to the three higher trainings, right? Ethics, wisdom, concentration. And normally concentration comes second. So through the pure ethics, well, one, since I'm sorry to burst your bubble, we probably won't attain nirvana in this life. I mean, sorry, I should stop saying we. I probably won't attain nirvana in this life. But maybe if I practice some ethics, I can get a good rebirth in my next life. That's okay. But anyway, through the pure ethics, we can get a good rebirth in the future. We can get another opportunity to practice and continue along the path. But the other thing, we were saying how the wisdom realizing emptiness, since emptiness is a hidden phenomena, we first realize it through conceptual, and then through repeated meditation, it then switches to direct realization. So in order to do that, we need the concentration combined with the wisdom. The wisdom is the one that ultimately is going to abandon the ignorance, but it needs to be supported by the other two. Okay? What do we think? Let's do it. Well, actually, That's what we would say if we were full-fledged medium school practitioners. But remember, we're doing the paths shared with a medium scope, but actually, like Rami, we should be doing this with bodhicitta, right? Nice. So then we see the nature of the path leading to liberation, but instead we say, wait a minute, if I follow this advice and gain this kind of mind of renunciation from samsara, then practice and realize emptiness, I'll cut through the 12 links, yeah. I'll attain nirvana, yeah. That's good. But what about the rest of the people, the rest of the sentient beings? Right? What about them? They'll still be just like I am now, drowning in the ocean of samsara. Then I have the opportunity. I'll just free myself and then leave them. Okay. Then the thought can come, yeah, okay. You're responsible for your happiness. They're responsible for their happiness, right? It's okay. What business it is of yours to get involved with their suffering? You're not harming them, right? Everyone's free to pursue what they want. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, right? But then we think, okay, so the question, why do we care that others are suffering? Well, on one level, these are the two ways to develop the bodhicitta. We think that they've been our mother, our father, our loved one, our beloved kitty cat, not just once but many times, and they've given us so much in the past. And so now that we've received so much from them, if we just do something just for our own benefit and leave them behind, it's a bit shameful. Yeah. Then second way we think is actually even now, not when they were our mother, father, but even now, they're the source of all our happiness. They're the source of all our happiness, not when they're kind to us, but even, those ones that criticize us, the ones that harm us. How are they kind? Well, as Shandilava says, right? So actually, just like we need a beggar to practice generosity, right? We need people to harm us to practice patience, right? If everyone treated us like a Buddha, kind, said all the nice things, how could we practice patience? So, since we need patience, one of the six perfections, one of the main practices to lead to enlightenment, since we need patience, we need beings to harm us. And they're rare in the world. Relatively. I didn't say non-existent, but rare, fortunately, right? So that one, giving us the opportunity to practice, and therefore very kind. Not only that, okay, so that's one. Next one, all these wonderful teachings we receive. Hello. All these wonderful teachings we receive from the Buddha, from our gurus. How the Buddha How'd the Buddha get to be that way? By practicing bodhicitta, right? Remember, enthused by great compassion, you taught the Holy Dharma to overcome all wrong views. So, great compassion, then bodhicitta, motivated the Buddha to traverse the path. That same path he then taught to us. So now this sentient being, the suffering sentient being, the Buddha has great compassion for it. And because of that great compassion the Buddha had for the sentient being, he was able to attain enlightenment. Because of his enlightenment, he was able to turn the wheel of Dharma. Because of turning the wheel of Dharma, then we're able to practice the same means. So, sentient beings, very kind, whether they're, our mothers or not. So now when we have the opportunity, right, we can go for our personal liberation, or we can do something else. So we can be of utmost benefit for all sentient beings. And then we choose that one, right? What do you think? But that's the topic for another weekend. Okay. So now we have time for a series of questions. They don't have to be serious. Oh man. Technical questions. I'm joking. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so those on the Zoom, you can think of your questions, and then we'll have some questions here as well. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Okay. So, you get the question? Sort of. I'll paraphrase. But anyway, we were talking about the samsara being caused by karma and delusions. Then of the delusions we have in the 12 links, we have ignorance and craving grasping. So I don't know who was saying this, but they were saying, let's not abandon ignorance. Let's just abandon craving grasping. Then our karma won't activate at the time of death. Then we can also purify our karma through conventional practices like 35 Buddhas, so forth. Then if we get the concentration, we will have no manifest afflictions. Isn't that a kind of liberation? Anything else? For now, let's start with that. Okay, so first, there's no abandoning craving, grasping without abandoning ignorance. You abandon all the afflictions at the same time. So when we talk about abandoning afflictions, not just suppressing them temporarily, we have to abandon the afflictions and their seeds. Okay? That means all the afflictions you abandon at the same time. We have the, sorry for technical jargon, but we have the uninterrupted path, right? The Barche Melam, and the path of liberation, the Namjong Lam. So the uninterrupted path is always direct realization on emptiness. Then you abandon all the afflictions with that. There can be other antidotes to, say, anger, meditating on patience and so forth. But even meditating on patience won't enable you to abandon anger and its seeds. It'll just be a kind of temporary antidote. Okay? That's one. Second, when we say form and formless realm, concentration, blah, 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 now it is true when we have the form level concentration, the afflictions pertaining to the desire realm will be suppressed. But there's still afflictions related to the form and formless realm. That's why immutable karma, right? You have to then, if you, let's say, attain the third level concentration, and it doesn't degenerate by your time of death, the second level concentration and lower desire realm concentration, afflictions will be suppressed. But you still have the third level concentration afflictions. That will project rebirth in the third level of the form realm. So that's not liberation. Yeah. No. There's no anger. Actually, even in the form realm, there's no anger. There's ignorance. Well, I don't want to say only, but only. I'm not sure. There's no anger. That's clear. Now, this is the other thing, right? No, hold on. See, for some, at the time of death, their concentration can degenerate, right? Because, hey, we've been reborn in the form and formless realm countless times from beginningless rebirth. Yet here we are back in the desire realm, right? So it can be also possible that for the time of death, that concentration degenerates. We get the desire realm afflictions coming up again, and then we find ourselves in the desire realm. That's entirely possible. If there are questions on Zoom, we can take. Otherwise, I think Namgyal will be here. What? That's it? I thought there's going to be more. I haven't seen Namgyal in years. He always has the very series of serious questions anytime we meet. Anyway, it's okay. We have more time together. Sorry, am I embarrassing you? No? Oh, I have to try harder. I'm trying to help you get that sense of the I come up so you can refute it in your meditation practice. Any other questions? So sorry, those of you on Zoom, Venerable Namgyal, very dear Dharma friend for some years. Um, anyway, he's here now. So yeah, those of you, I'm gonna remember all your faces. So later when we become Dharma friends, I can embarrass you a bit. Out of a mind of compassion. Okay, any other questions? No. Yeah, here we go. Thank you. Really? Okay, continue on. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Hmm. So let me paraphrase. Basically, you're asking, can someone get the realization of bodhicitta before they have the realization of renunciation? No. Now, we should review a little bit what that actual mind is, right? So I'm trying to find in the previous day's slides, right? There's that quotation from Lamsung Kappa, right? Yeah, no. So I'm totally with you. I'm answering your question. Um, I yeah, don't worry, don't worry. So, Rami, if you go back to the presentation from yesterday, day 2. The measure of having generated renunciation. Uh, either one should be there, right? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, there's this, when by having trained in that way, there is no arising even for a second of attraction to the perfections of psychic existence, and all day and night the intention seeking liberation arises, then the thought of renunciation has been generated. Okay. 35. Okay. Remember this? All right. So there's a just like a technical way to answer it. And then there's the answer according to one's practice, right? So what is the mind of renunciation? What is the mind of bodhicitta? Because you're saying, oh yeah, people can have the thought they're wanting to benefit others. Is that the mind of bodhicitta? So what do you need for bodhicitta? Mm. Well, hold on. So in Abhisamaya Alamkara, Semke Pani Shindin Shir Yanda Zobe Janchub De, right? So there's two wishes associated with bodhicitta. The wish to benefit others, yes, but also the wish to attain enlightenment. The wish to attain enlightenment. Okay. And then, we also talk about to have the realization. It's not the contrived one, but the day and night. Okay. So now let me ask you this. Enlightenment, is that liberation? No. Hold on. No. Is the Buddha liberated from samsara? When you attain enlightenment, are you liberated from samsara? So enlightenment is liberation. It's the great liberation. So it's the kind of liberation, right? A large Coke is still a Coke. Small Coke is a Coke too, right? All right. So now, if we were to talk here in this one, the Bodhisattva, do they have arising attraction to the perfections of psychic existence? The Bodhisattva. All day and night, they're seeking enlightenment, right? Okay. So there, at the very least, if we say that developing the mind of bodhicitta is developing a mind that's seeking day and night liberation, then at the very least they happen simultaneously. So no way can you have bodhicitta first, then renunciation. Okay. All right. That's a technical answer. Now, I was also saying answer in terms of our practice. So Shantideva says, if this thought hasn't even arisen with relation to themselves, how could it arise in relation to others? What is he talking about? Bodhicitta. Yes, but if even for ourselves, we don't have the thought to be free from all of suffering, how can we think I'm going to lead all beings to be free from suffering? Right? So in terms of our practice, since compassion is the thought that others, be free from suffering, we have to understand suffering. When we understand suffering, remember that fundamental wish, we don't want to suffer. So the more we read of these texts about suffering, we're going to be thinking, I don't want to experience this. It's going to happen naturally. Right? So we're already going to get that kind of thought, I don't want to experience all this suffering for ourselves on some level. Right? Does that answer your question? Yeah, I think so. Then another like just debate thing is, we enter the Mahayana path when we have uncontrived bodhicitta. We enter the Hinayana or let's say, Hinayana path when we have uncontrived renunciation. But the definition of path is exalted knower conjoined with a mind of renunciation. So bodhicitta for a bodhisattva, that is their mind of renunciation. Rami. Hmm? Well, you can have aspirational bodhicitta that's full-fledged bodhicitta, by the way. But so this is the thing. Technically speaking, the full-fledged great school practitioner is bodhisattva who has uncontrived bodhicitta. Now, as I like to say, just because you're not a bodhisattva doesn't mean you can't act like one. Okay? In fact, don't let that stop you. So we do all these practices that we're training. Hey, I told you, I admit I'm not even a full-fledged small school practitioner, but I'm trying, right? So don't worry so much. Oh, I don't have full-fledged bodhicitta. How are you going to do that? You practice what's there in the text until you get the full-fledged realization, right? But anyway, it is possible, the other part of that question, it is possible for the bodhisattva to just have aspirational bodhicitta and not the engaging. Was that a question from the Zoom? Mm. So I'm very happy we talking about bodhicitta, but it's a little bit if some of those things I'm talking about aspirational, it's like new concepts. We will hopefully talk about that another time in another context. Okay. Anything else? All right. Well, is it? Time's up. So, in closing, yeah, about the Dharma, I actually have nothing more to say. I said even more than I wanted to say. Amazing. So let me thank all of you for coming. Let me thank Rami for the invitation and then all of the hard work in organizing this teaching. Although no one else is here, I'll thank all the staff of Land of Medicine Buddha for the hard work they're doing to cook the meals, to maintain the grounds, to wash my sheets and whatnot. Everyone on the Zoom, thank you for attending as well with more punctuality than the people actually here. So at the beginning, we had good motivation, I hope, right? We tried to sustain that motivation through our time together. And then at the end, we should dedicate that positive energy in accordance with our motivation. So we can do that. And not just the time, the virtue we've created in our time together, but as Lamzop often does, we can dedicate, so due to all the merit we've accumulated here in our course, as well as all the merit accumulated by the numberless sentient beings and numberless Buddhas in the past, present, and future. So may the mind of bodhicitta arise in our hearts and the hearts of all sentient beings without even a second's delay, and that altruistic wish, that mind of bodhicitta that has already been generated, may increase and particularly, yeah, all the leaders of the world, particularly the leaders of Russia, Vladimir Putin, so forth. May they develop bodhicitta right this second, and then having developed the mind of bodhicitta, may they abandon completely the thought to cause even the slightest harm to a single sentient being, and therefore, instantly, stop the horrible war going on without even firing a single other weapon, and maybe just go home. Then we can dedicate all our merit as well as all the merit accumulated 3 times by the number of sentient beings and numbers of Buddhas for the long lives of the spiritual friends, particularly His Holiness and Lama Zopa Rinpoche, all the other spiritual teachers showing the unmistaken path to enlightenment. May they have long and stable lives, and may all their wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Then we can dedicate for all the other problems we see in the world, environmental problems, problems due to natural disasters, various diseases, famine, all the causes of suffering of body and mind. May these also instantly be pacified right this second and never occur again in this or any of the world systems in the whole universe. And then due to the merit, which is merely labeled by the mind, not existing from its own side, may I, who is merely labeled by the mind, not existing from my own side, achieve the state of enlightenment, which is merely labeled by the mind, not existing from its own side, and thus may I be able to lead all the sentient beings who are merely labeled by the mind, not existing from their own side, to that state as well. Merely labeled by the mind, not existing from its own side. Then we can also dedicate for all the beings who are sick. May they instantly recover and live the most meaningful life by practicing Mahayana Dharma. All those beings who have recently died. So one of my friend's father is Dennis Leong. And then all the others who are in the bardo, may they instantly be reborn in Pure Land where they can achieve enlightenment, or at the very least attain again a perfect human rebirth, meet with the Mahayana Dharma and Mahayana spiritual friend, and attain enlightenment in their very next lifetime. Okay. So my friends here, it's the days of miracles, right? 100 million merit multiplying. So I have a gift for the people here. Sorry, you on Zoom. When we meet again in the future, I'll give something to you. But maybe some incense for you. Oh, so those of you maybe even on the Zoom, so you know this wish granting wheel mantra, Om Pemo Ushi Shanti Mani Humpe. So when you recite that mantra and you blow on incense, then anyone who comes into contact with the smoke of the incense, they also get purified. Pretty nice, huh? Om Pemo Ushi Mani Humpe, Om Pemo Ushi Mani Humpe, Om Pemo Ushi Shanti Mani Humpe, Om Pemo Ushi Shanti Mani Humpe. And then, so, come on. And then, Tara, I have some pictures of 21 Taras. We like Tara? Yes. So you can have this for your altar as well. And yeah, you on the Zoom. Yeah, in the future. Oh, Oh. Yeah, so what am I announcing? Uh-huh. So tomorrow night, there's another just event taking advantage of the merit multiplying. We're going to do a group recitation of the Vajrakara Sutra. So we're talking about how ignorance is the root of all samsaric suffering. So Vajrakatar means wisdom realizing emptiness. That is the only thing that has the ability to cut through the root of samsara. What time is it? 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And yeah, there's some kind of registration. You can look on the Land of Medicine Buddha website for that. We'll also be doing, I believe, a little light offering afterwards, accumulate some more merit. And so, yeah, come if you are available. And it's not, it won't be too late, even those on the East Coast. And come on. Not that late. Right? Yeah, it's not that late. No, because you have things like this. 100 million merit multiplying. Right? That means rather than reciting the Vajrakara Sutra every day, right? For your entire life, you recite tomorrow with us. We don't live 100 million days, right? Got to take advantage. Okay. Bye.
Thank you so much.